Now the details, I'm glad you're able to join us. Service delivery has improved in different sectors here in Rwanda, but people still face difficulties while seeking some services, and experts have continued to warn that poor service delivery can seriously hinder economic growth in the country. Betty Mutoni has more on that.
While visiting different places where various services are delivered, you find many people seeking for different services. When you ask them how services are delivered to them, they have different experience. These things still exist, but not everywhere. Sometimes you go to a place where you want a service, and they say that they're in a meeting and not working. You will come back tomorrow, and you find there are many people, some of whom have received services and others have not.
These days, there are some interesting changes, because before it was difficult. It would take like a week or a month before they receive you. They will tell you, go and come back tomorrow. But this year, we are getting good services.
Good service delivery is needed in all sectors, as some of the service providers say that it is their responsibility to deliver well because it helps in boosting their businesses. The benefit you get from receiving customers well is that 90% of customers end up bringing their colleague, telling them that there is a place where you received a good reception and you should go there. The economic expert noted that poor service delivery hinders economic growth of the country.
So if a citizen has a service he needs and does not get it on time, it will cost a lot. First of all, let's start with the money invested, because if there is a service the citizen needs a certain level and he doesn't get it for a long time, there is money wasted in traveling and the other things that I didn't plan for. They say that time is money. When I look for a service and I don't get it, there is a lot of challenges, and sometimes the service we're going to ask was the one that will have helped you find something to improve yourself.
On Monday 19th January 2023, in the swearing-in ceremony of the President of the Senate, His Excellency President Paul Kagame requested all the leaders to find solutions to the problems of poor service delivery and promised them a hand in finding the solution.
Another issue that we have talked for so many years, which can rise our economy if we stand on it, it is good service delivery. Service delivery, let it be in government sectors or even private sectors. I don't understand why it should be a burden to extend, as I earlier said. Something can take 5 minutes, it takes 1 hour. Anything to do in a day, it takes a week. Something that can be done in a week takes a month. I don't think we should accept that. Leaders who are here, you should go understand this, because we have said it for many times. So you have to go back in this new year. We are going in and let it change. And I myself promise on my side, whatever is to be done for things to change, I will do it.
The Rwandan Governance Scorecard (RGS) shows that in the year 2022, the service delivery level was at 77.69%, while the previous year it was at 81.86%. Betty Mutoni, RwandaTV News.
The private sector and economic analysts have noted that the fact that Rwanda continues to welcome new investors every year is a great benefit to the national economy in terms of increasing knowledge, creating new jobs, and ensuring stability of the country's economy. Last year, Rwanda registered investments worth $1.6 billion. Jessica Gasaro with the details.
Louise Musenge is a Rwandan living in Belgium, where her work includes encouraging Rwandans living abroad to invest in their country. As a business coach, she explains that one of the most important things she does is to show opportunities for investment so that Rwandans living abroad can also contribute to the development of their country.
Especially in this mission, to make a lot of contacts and to do a market study also on to find mentors who will help and who will coach these people throughout the installation process. Opportunities I've seen, there are many opportunities, but in technologies here at Norsken, you can see that it's a great potential in high tech, meaning that you can work remotely for companies abroad. So that's a huge potential. But of course, in the real estate, I've visited many real estate projects. That's also a potential, and in other sectors.
Basic figures from Rwanda Development Board (RDB) shows that from January to December 2022, investment worth $1.6 billion were made. One of the 103 projects, which is mainly based on large-scale industries, where initially there is a $530 million methane gas processing project which is set to be built in Karongi district. A $25 million renewable cooking fuel utility, which is also expected to support the country's energy sector as well. Rwanda's private sector knows that apart from the country's security, it is easier to open a new business, plus to that technology, which also makes investors to get more attracted. Technology is very important in business, as I think on the plan we're having, which is towards 4G and 5G internet, as I think that development of technology will literally contribute in bringing more investment in the country. In November 2022, tourism-based activities generated $425.5 million, where $19.7 million were generated by the Volcanoes National Park. As to that, much of these tourism-based activities were promoted by 100 international conferences, which were attended by over 35,000 people. The service sector generated $62 million out of a projected $43 million. This is where economic analysts points out many factors on the increase of the investment in various sectors. All the bodies which have pointed to facilitate investors, they are all perfect, like banks, money transfers, and many others. If you have that Visit Rwanda, which also facilitates the investors to know the country, like if Rwanda facilitates the investors and passengers, like now we are having Kigali London, all this assures the investor to come to invest and return without any difficulty. They plan to have Kigali as an international financial service hub. Kigali Financial Hub, which was launched last year, is also expected to have many changes based on its investment of $100 million. Last year, 1,367 interns were placed in private and public institutions, and 5,648 SMEs were trained. 82% of them secured to loans from financial institutions. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Indeed, Adam Squizera with that report, and not Jessica Gasaro. My apologies for that mistake. Staying on economic matters, intra-regional trade within the East African community is on the upward trajectory, standing at $10 billion in September 2022. Adam Squizera continues.
It's been more than 2 years, the countries of the world facing the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has seriously affected the health and the economy of the countries in the East African community. As late after the slowdown of this pandemic, there has been a Russian-Ukraine war, where all this has further weakened the trade and commerce of this region. The EAC Secretary General, Dr. Peter Mathuki, attributed the increase in the intra-regional trade to political will among the members of the summit of the EAC heads of states and the relaxation of the COVID-19 restrictions in the region, amongst other factors.
So one of the missions of the community is the expansion. And therefore, for the last 1 year, we have expanded. We have seen now the community's GDP grow to $300 billion. So the community expand, to a closer population of 300 million people. So we are talking of now the East African community of 300 million people. And when we look at it like a market that is available for business community, for people looking for opportunities in this community.
On the East African Monetary Union, Dr. Mathuki noted that the bloc would have a single currency within the next 4 years, since the Council of Ministers is expected to make a decision about the East African Monetary Institute.
This year we are going to finalize, possibly, where we are going to have the East African Monetary Institute. This is the institution that is going to create a roadmap for having one currency. So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to have a common currency. Every citizen of East Africa wakes up in the morning, they go to their pocket to buy milk or bread, you get an East African currency. And that facilitates business, but also facilitates movement of people from one country to another.
The intra-EAC trade, accounting for imports and exports in the 7 EAC partner states, grew from 13% in 2019 at a value of $7.1 billion to 15% in 2021 at a value of $9.5 billion, where by September 2022, the East African Community trade value was recorded at $10.17 billion, representing a 20% share of intra-trade to global trade. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now, African youth have noted that in order for the continent to achieve sustainable development, young people should participate in good governance and shun bad leadership policies. Jessica Gassaro with more.
Africa Youth Leadership Forum, AYLF, which is in more than 7 countries in Africa, are looking together what can be done by the youth to make Africa a continent that is desired by everyone, including the participation of the youth. Some youth believe that if the youth are given enough knowledge, they become good leaders of the future.
So the leaders of today are not going to be the leaders of tomorrow. So we need to be able to train the youth to be able to lead tomorrow. So who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow is the youth, right? So we are going to play a core part in sustainable development.
Be a student, don't be a follower. So always try, if you receive any type of information, it can be anything from anyone. Sometimes we always fall in this trap of, this person who is giving me the information is someone that is close to me, maybe my parents, so maybe they're true. But sometimes maybe the parents themselves received from someone else that wasn't truthful. So always try to find like the source, where is this information coming from? And this is how you get to know, to separate the truth from the false information.
This is the 5th edition of the Africa Francophonie Youth Gathering, where students from different countries attended this forum to leverage their diversity for a sustainable future of the continent. With the conflict and misunderstanding that continue to divide African countries, these students who were attending the conference explained that they are learning to become better leaders with integrity and good governance. They won't be a part of the problem, rather, they will be a part of the solution, maybe not today or tomorrow, but in the near future. The Commissioner for Politics and Foreign Affairs in the Pan-African Movement, Siaka Nyarwaya Michael, says that leadership begins at the levels closest to the people, and therefore the youth of Africa should understand this responsibility at an early stage in order to build Africa loved by its people.
It's the message of peace, the message of honesty, the message of working hand in hand with the good intention. The message that I can give the young people is to be among of the problem solver, not the problem causer.
Africa Youth Leadership Forum was created 16 years ago and has been operating in more than 7 countries in Africa, where they work with the youth in college and high school students, teaching them how to become better leaders. So far, the Africa Youth Leadership Forum is made of more than 6,000 members from a group of just 3 people. Jessica Gassaro, RTV News.
Staying with African youth, Equity Bank has had 34 students from the bank's areas of operation who successfully passed their primary school leaving examinations. Jessica Gassaro once more.
These 34 girls and boys are in addition to the other 32 students Equity Bank received last year in the Equity Leaders Program. Those who started with this program, that it helped them financially and is still useful to them today as they continue their studies in different universities.
Excited when I was called to be among the Equity Leaders Program 2021 because it was the inaugural cohort and we didn't know how the experience would be, but we were very curious.
This program is very beneficial. I myself go to a university in Qatar. It's called Northwestern University in Qatar, and it is due to the program, which is called Equity College Counseling Program, that students of ELP, Equity Leaders Program, join after they intern at the branches.
Equity Bank's new students admit to the Equity Leaders program, appreciate this support, and hope that it will help them learn and prepare and serve their country.
Much, but so far there is this college counseling program that will help us to get to global universities.
So first of all, this program will help me gain experience, and when I have experience, I'll put that in my CV, and that will help me to get further in what I do. It will also open my mind to think out of the box.
The management of Equity Bank Rwanda branch says that this program of cooperation with the government to build the capacity of students and workers will continue.
The key to success, creating leaders of the future, is something we value because we want to secure the future. We want to secure the future. We want to ensure that people who we are handing the future of this country, the future of the continent, the future of the world, whoever we're handing it to, those people are prepared in such a way that they can take forward the mantle of leadership.
The General Director of the Rwanda Education Board, Dr. Mbarushimana Nelson, appreciates this program and encourages others to do the same.
Minisiteri y'Uburezi irashimira Equity Bank.
As the Ministry of Education, we thank Equity Bank for this program to help these children so that they can have different educations, including leadership. The one needs those who will lead others and needs these leaders with a great contribution.
The Equity Leaders program lasts between 3 and 4 months, where these students receive training and work while they wait to go to university, and Equity Bank continues to support them until they finish their university studies. The Equity Leaders program focuses on 4 pillars: increasing knowledge, keeping up with time, being innovative, and giving back to others. This program has helped 18,200 students from countries including Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Jessica Gasaro, RTV News.
We've come to the end of this edition, and I thank you so much for being able to join us. Goodbye.